Hi, hello everyone. My name is Jo and I'm an independent cloud consultant based in Sydney, Australia. This is a series of videos where we will go through questions which are very similar to Azure AI-102 certification. I'll explain in detail each and every options and figure out the correct answer. So if you're preparing for AI-102 certification, join me in this video. Now, a basic knowledge of Azure AI services will help you to better understand these questions. Now, regarding me, I watched one training to prepare for the exam. From watching this training, I got insights on different Azure AI services, what are those services used for, how to create them, and much more. So if you're preparing for your Azure AI-102 certification, I would highly recommend you this training. The link to this training will be given in the description box below. Now to the format of the question. We have to select the appropriate option to fulfill the requirement stated in the question. You are developing a conversational language understanding model for an e-commerce chatbot. The chatbot prompts users to provide their billing address, which can be spoken or typed. Which entity type should you use to capture billing address effectively? Machine learned, Regex, Geography V2, Pattern.any, list. Now let us break down the question. What are the keywords present in this question? Now the question is regarding conversational language understanding model. So there is a chatbot and we have to provide the billing address to this chatbot. So which entity type is billing address? That is the question. We have to figure out the entity type of billing address. Now, what is Conversational Language Understanding Model? So it is a feature offered by Azure AI Language Service. And as the name suggests, it is a custom conversational model like chatbot. Now let us see the documentation. So before talking about entities, I would like to say about utterances. So what is utterance? So we already have a CLU model. And utterance is the instruction or input which we are passing to the model. So for example, I'm asking the model to book a ticket to Paris for me. That is the utterance. This whole thing is the utterance. The user input is the utterance. Or I'm asking the model to order a pizza. So that is the utterance. The whole input is called the utterance. Now let us see what is entity. So this documentation talks about various entity types. So entity is an item or element that is relevant to user's intent. So first we have to figure out what is intent. So we know utterance is the instruction we are giving to the model. So from the given utterance, the model will identify the intent of the user or what action it should perform. That is intent. Intent is the action the model has to perform. For example, if the utterance is I want to order a small pizza, the intent is order pizza. If the utterance is turn off bedroom light, the intent is turn off. And here in the first case the entity is small and here the entity is bedroom. So entity is defined data that can be extracted from the utterance and is essential to complete a user's required action. So an entity is essential to complete the action of the user. So this is what entity is. So if the utterance is buy 3 tickets to New York, buy ticket is the intent and 3 and New York is the entity. So there are various types of entities. So one is list entity. So a list entity represents a closed set of related words along with their synonym. So this is the example for list entity. So there will be multiple elements in a list entity. Now next is regex entity, which means regular expression. That is regex entity. It will extract any entity based on a regular pattern or expression. So here the flight number. So the flight number is that of a fixed length, or credit card number that is of a fixed length or it has a fixed pattern to it. So a regex entity is used to extract regular expression entity like flight number and credit card number. Now there is pre-built entities. So as the name suggests, these are the pre-built entities present in the model like person name. It can extract person name, date and time from the utterance. They are pre-built to the model. So if we go to this URL, here we can see all the pre-built entities like age, currency, date, time, dimension, email, number, and geography V2 entity. Like it can extract places like name of country or region. That is what is geography V2 entity. So they are pre-built entity. Number entity is also a Prebuilt Entity. Now next is Pattern.any entity. It is a variable length placeholder used only in a pattern's template utterance to mark where the entity begins and ends. So it is a variable length placeholder. So here, if you look at the example, the meal is the placeholder. So anything can come here. It can be burger, it can be pizza, or anything. So for a variable length, we use Pattern.any entity. Now there is machine learned entity. Machine learned entity uses context to extract entities based on labeled examples. It relies on machine learning algorithm and requires labeling to be tailored to your application successfully. So first we have to label the entity and train the model. So here in machine learning entity with structure, you can see here address. So address is an example of machine learned entity. Now let us get back into the question. So from what we saw, which entity type should you use to capture billing address effectively? The entity type is machine learned entity. The correct answer is option A, machine learned. Now to the next question. In Lewis, which type of entity is designed to capture any sequence of words in a user utterance, providing flexibility to match varying input patterns? Prebuilt entity, symbol entity, list entity, Pattern.any. So let us break down the question. What are the keywords? The question is about a Lewis service. So Lewis service is the older name for Conversational Language Understanding. So both are same. And which type of entity is used to capture sequence of words, providing variable input patterns or varying input patterns? So which type of entity is used to capture varying input patterns? So if we get back into the documentation, we already saw that for variable length placeholder, we use Pattern.any entity. So here the correct answer is option D, Pattern.any. That is the correct answer for varying input patterns. Now to the next question. You are building an Azure AI Language Understanding solution. During development, you notice that many indents include similar utterances containing airport names or airport codes. You need to minimize the number of utterances required to train the model while ensuring accurate recognition of airport-related information. Which type of custom entity should you use? List, machine learning, number, regex. So here it asks which entity is used for airport-related information or for airport names or airport code. Which entity should we use? That is the question. So if we get back to the documentation, in the list entity, if we go to this URL, you can see what a list entity is. So it represents a fixed closed set of related words along with their synonym. So it is a list of entities. So in the case of airport names, it is better to use list entity because there are fixed number of airport, or it is kind of a list. So we can use a list entity for the name of airports. So for airport names or airport codes, we have to use list entity. The correct option is option A, list. Now to the next question. You are developing a natural language processing model for a customer support chatbot that collects shipping addresses from users. Users can either type or dictate their shipping address when interacting with the chatbot. Which entity type should you implement to effectively capture shipping addresses? Machine learned, regex, geography v2, Pattern.any, list. So this similar question we have came across before. So I'll give it 10 seconds just to make a guess. And we have seen this before. And note that it is to collect shipping addresses. The entity is shipping address or address. So we already know for addresses we use machine learned entity. The correct option is A, machine learned. So it is better to go through these documentation and just to keep in mind which all entities are used in which scenarios. I have seen 1 or 2 questions regarding the entity types. I'll provide the link of this documentation in the description box. Now what did we learn from this video? We learned about entity and various types of entities and what each entity type is used for. If you find this video informative, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.